1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome back, everyone, to our next episode on Breakfast with Brothers.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Good to see everyone. Happy to see the faces. Thanks for all your feedback and your listens.
But I'm sorry to say, but that's all the time we have for today. So remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys on the flippy flop. Peace.
Out for the I'm walking the bull, out for
Psych. We got you.
We had you going.
No, but
you could have logged in and logged right back out, and you would have been none the wiser. You would have been like, that was a great podcast.
You guys would have been all right with that, right? I hope so. Good. Okay, glad to hear it. But, yeah, today we got an interesting topic. What is it? We're talking about the beach and, like, unpopular opinions, right?
Unpopular opinions about the beach. Although they might be popular. I will have to say there are a lot of beachgoers that I've been to the beach with, a lot of beachgoers that I've seen on social media. It's one of those things where if you love the beach, great. But there's a lot of things that could point you in the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. There's people that love the beach and, like, don't really care about a lot of these things. Or don't see them as being like big issues, but they're a little annoying, and I'm sure people that don't live near the beach that love going to the beach can attest and say that, yeah, I hate these things.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you start us up, Zach? You know, some of your ideas that we were talking about before.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the first big one is probably sunburn, and I think that goes for everybody, even if you don't get sunburn. I know there is such a thing as sunblock, and obviously
Zach.
I know all about the wonders. Sunblock. I know all about the wonders of sunblock and the spray-ons. You have the lotions that you can rub in, and I mean, quite frankly, they're all annoying in their own way. But that's besides the point. If you put on enough sunscreen, you're pretty much looking okay for beach day. You have to apply maybe 2-3 times throughout the day if you're there for the whole time. But it's one of those things where no matter what you do, you end up getting sunburnt somewhere, whether it's on your neck, whether it's on your arms, whether it's on the back of your knees. I mean, sometimes the top of my feet get hit in the worst way, and it's just an itchy nightmare. Putting on shoes and socks is just such a strain. And it's one of those things where, to me, going to the beach, getting sunburn, I wouldn't say it's an unpopular opinion to, avoid the beach and, putting on sunscreen is a bad thing. But it's an annoyance. So, I don't know. What do you even think? Do you enjoy, putting on sunscreen 4 times in a day? I mean...
No, I absolutely hate it. I think putting on sunscreen is just absolutely vile. No, and in a real sense, like, even just like working outside, like since, we would work outside all the time, I had to put sunscreen on like my ears and such and like the back of my neck. Just so like, since if it was like a hot or sunny day, it's like I only had like earbuds in. Or like ones that like went around or hooked around my ear or something. So I didn't have like how, we used to wear those big ear muffs for ear protection. So like I never really worried about it, but then I switched to those and then it was something I had to worry about. But like I guess when I go to the beach, it's like 10 times worse because now you're in the water that reflects sun at like 10 times stronger than the sun actually is. You're out in the open, there's no shade whatsoever, so you're just getting in direct sunlight at all times. So, and then on top of that, us being very Irish, we have very pale skin.
True.
We get burnt even more. It's not like we tan. It takes like months for us to tan. We just immediately burn, and then that burn turns into a tan down the road.
Well, I will interrupt you and say that our tan, I think, is the culmination of a dozen sunburnings. And it's the perfect equivalent because whenever I actually tan, it's months after like we get good weather, warm weather, we're out and about in the sun doing whatever that looks like, beach time or work time. It's a bunch of burnings until our tan comes through. And it's not ever in a bad way. Like I will say, usually when I'm working out at the golf course or when I was at Bethel, I just put some spray on my arms, a little bit on my neck, and that would be pretty much the hot spots that I had to worry about. Everything else was covered. My head, my ears, my feet, my legs, my chest, torso, back area, whatever. But it was just one of those things where no matter what, you could apply a dozen times in a day, you could apply it 2 dozen times in a day. We were getting burned some way or the other. If the sun was out, no clouds, it was hot enough, bam, sunburn city.
Yeah. So like imagine that now 10 times more at the beach.
It's true. So I guess in this case, sorry to say, the unpopular opinion isn't sunburning. The unpopular opinion is that we don't like the sun. Because everyone that goes to the beach loves the sun time. They like getting out there for their tans, enjoying the warmth. So our opinion is that the sun is our enemy.
I was going to say, like, I love the sun, but man, does it not like me.
Right.
I love being out in the sun and like on like beautiful days and everything like that, but
Agreed.
you'll catch me in the summertime now wearing like pants and like a short sleeve, and like the only thing that's really like uncovered is like my arms and my face. I just I don't really care for it. It's not like I can't just wear pants in the summertime and like be like, oh my god, it's so hot. No, it's just like it's normal for me now. I can wear pants normally in the summer.
Right.
But yeah, no, not a huge fan of the sun in the sense of what it does to our skin and how much it hurts. Like my nose is absolutely roasted by the sun like day in and day out, no matter how much sunscreen I put on it. Which kind of sucks.
It is a tough time to be a fair-skinned lad. And that's the thing with going to the beach, where not only is it sunburn, I guess another unpopular opinion would be sand. Sand is great. What you could do in the sand, you could flip, tumble, do anything and not really get hurt most of the time. You could dig tunnels, you could build sand castles. I mean, you could burrow your feet in the sand to cool off, from the sun, burning your little toesies up. And, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of, like, other good things in the sand. But in this case, the sand getting in crevices is bad news bears. The worst, even.
Hate the sand. I love the beach. Love going to the beach. But sand, biggest enemy. It's everywhere. It gets
Biggest
everywhere.
enemy.
And it's always everywhere.
It's true.
I know some people that can like stay at the beach. Like Dad's one of those people that can stay at the beach all day.
Oh,
Does
yeah,
not
of
give
course.
Doesn't give a crap. Stays at the beach all day and is unfazed by, anything else going on. All he needs is just like an umbrella and he can just sit there. Actually, he doesn't even need an umbrella. He can just sit out there in a chair and he'll be fine. I don't know how he does it because like obviously once I'm out of the ocean and I get dry and everything and like I could finally brush all the sand off and shit.
Yeah.
Even then it's still like a nuisance because it's like now I'm sweating and it's still sticking to me because I'm sitting in the sun.
And that's the thing. Like, don't let us fool you. We love the beach, going to the beach, being at the beach is a lot of fun. But this episode was to just harp on things that other people talk about, other people complain about, that other people I'm sure have shared gossip about before. And the sand is a big one for me too, because like Ian said, being at the beach all day is one thing. Being able to withstand the elements, I think going there, seeing the water, smelling the water, just living it up in the wind, getting a little bit of sun in you, some vitamin D, it goes a long way to help not only your mental state but also just enjoying the day. And that's it. That's what makes the beach so great. But also in that same sense, everything that's wrong with the beach is also going to get covered in this podcast. So put on your listening ears because we're roasting. We're roasting the beach today.
Yeah, one more thing on the sand topic. I mean, even Anakin Skywalker said he doesn't like sand, dude. That's saying a lot. That's why he doesn't like going to the beach, man. He doesn't like sand. Anakin Skywalker said that.
It's tough. And that goes for more than just Anakin. I mean, as a specific example, I think there was one time I'm eating probably a turkey sandwich, bag of chips, whatever. Sand gets in that stuff. It's not just non-existent. If you're good, you can usually avoid getting sand in it. First things first, don't put your food on the ground. Second things second, don't eat when it's windy. That was my mistake. And
wait, hold on. If anyone's putting their food on the ground, like they're stupid. I'm sorry.
Well,
Like,
what I'm saying is, like, if you got a beach towel, you don't got like a plate or
no,
anything.
I know.
You
Like,
got a sandwich
even
bag on
like,
the ground. Like, I think I've totally put a sandwich or the equivalent on a beach blanket. No worries. And it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, 5 seconds of germ. I'm pretty sure I could drop something in the sand, that wasn't sticky or edible. If it was like a wrapped lollipop or, I don't know, anything. I'd pick it up and go ahead and open it up and eat it after. Like,
oh yeah, no, but I mean, like, for anyone that like obviously you're not putting the raw sandwich, like bread and everything, straight on the blanket. You're probably keeping it within the bag. You know what I mean? Like the bag that you brought it in, like the Ziploc bag or the little like Saran wrap or something. You're keeping it
yeah,
in
maybe.
like wrapped. But like, I'm just stating, like, it sounded like you're just putting the sandwich down right on the sand. And that
No, not on
obviously
the
not.
sand, on the blanket. If something drops in the sand, like a pickle or like a sticky chip or a piece of cheese or something, and you're eating that out of the sand, then we got to get on the phone and talk. There's something wrong with you. But I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about just, I'm talking
Definitely.
about the generality of food being in and around at the beach. Even with like cold drinks, if you pull out a soda or a beer or something, if you put that in the sand and it's wet from condensation or just like you spilled some of it or whatever, that's getting all over the place. Forget about it. You're not going to enjoy holding that can in your hand. It's going to feel like you're
Never.
holding onto rocks, and it's going to be a bad time.
I was gonna say it's just like very, very tiny granules of glass just everywhere.
Mm.
It's not like that. It's not gonna cut your hand, but it's annoying and it
No,
feels
but that's just
terrible.
it. It's just annoying. And that's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's just a little annoying. Because aside from the sand, aside from the sunburn, I guess the other one is like losing track of time. The big one is falling asleep at the beach. You could fall asleep at like 1 p.m. and next thing you know, you're awake and it's like 4:30. You're like,
And you're just like you're absolute like everything hurts to move at that point because you've been sitting in the
Yeah.
same position for the last like 3 hours and like now the sun has completely roasted you.
you're sore, burnt, covered in sand. It's the three worst possible things that could have happened.
Dude, and on top of that you could have been, robbed and you would not know.
I personally haven't been robbed when I fell asleep on the beach. Thank goodness for that. I will knock
No,
on
neither
wood
have I, but
and call the possibility of a jinx out of the picture. But I think that's one thing people don't have to worry about is getting robbed at the beach. Everyone's kind of there for the same thing. Enjoy the sun, go in the water, have a swim, whatever, play beach volleyball. I don't know. But I don't think I've
maybe
ever...
on like a busy day.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever
Or a
seen
busy beach.
people rob other people on the beach. Now, of course, if you're robbing someone on the beach, you're a scumbag. But I don't think I've ever seen it, had it, ever happen to me. So,
Yeah, the
have
only
you
time
heard
I
of
can
people
imagine
getting
that
robbed?
would. Nah, well, not necessarily, but I know that's like still a thing because think about like all the busy beaches out there. Like
Sure.
let's take like Pebble Beach or Cocoa Beach or
Anywhere
Daytona.
in Florida.
Yeah, like along those beach lines or anywhere in California. Pretty much, or Jersey Shore. Let's take that for example too.
Mhm.
Myrtle Beach. All of these like very heavily populated, beaches
Yeah.
with either locals or, just a lot of people coming in for vacation. Even coming up further on the East Coast too, depending on where you're at, Long Island.
All right. Aside from analyzing beach locations,
Sorry. Yeah, no, I think it's a possibility. Like I'm sure people do it. It's just not as I don't know. I guess you might be right in the sense of like it's like, oh, okay, well everyone's at the beach today because they want to be at the beach to hang out and like, not worry about things. I guess it's also the fact of like you're not really bringing too many like valuables with you to the beach other
I'm
than like a
assuming
cell
not.
phone. A cell phone and like more than likely you're not bringing your wallet. At least like
I'm bringing my wallet to the beach. What if I got to buy a snow cone?
What beaches are you going to where they're selling snow cones?
Well, all right. That was just a minor snack example. But there'll be places where you go to a beach and there's a snack hut, or you'll be going and there could be a hot dog vendor rolling by.
I mean, sure, yeah. Like, I mean, in the sense
Pizza
of like when
places.
we were, when we went down to North Carolina and we walked the beach, but like we know what we're doing. We're just taking a walk on the beach. It's not like we're sitting there all day and then going to like the bar afterwards or something like we did like down in North Carolina. But we made sure that we were just going to the beach and we were just walking it to like find
No,
a bar
I got
like
you.
further
You're
down.
preparing for different scenarios. Of course, in this
Yeah.
case, if you're hanging out at the beach, I know every person's different. It's going to be some people bring their wallet, some people don't. Um, but that's besides the point. We were kind of getting off track on the idea that people could get robbed at the beach.
No,
That's
I
not
know,
an
I know.
unpopular
Sorry.
opinion. That's not an
No,
unpopular opinion.
it's just a possibility. That's
It is a
But, like,
possibility.
very, very slim possibility.
Mostly
I guess.
unlikely. Possible.
Listen, I'm just thinking people are, like you said, people are scumbags, dude.
Well, yes, I agree. In this case, I would say I wouldn't put it on the top tier list of bad things that happen at the beach. Of course, sunburn is still worse and happens more often. Of course, getting sand in undesirable locations is worse.
Right.
I guess not technically worse. It depends on how you get robbed, but still bad, not fun. And then falling asleep, being discombobulated and sore, awful. Again, not
Right.
as bad as being robbed of your money, but not good. Happens more often. So
Right.
all three of those things, in my case, they just trump getting robbed, because I don't think getting robbed is like one of those things that is
No,
a part of your beach experience.
Very low on the totem pole, but besides that, let's move on to the next one, and I think that's the overall effect of salt water.
As a generality, like what it does with
Yeah.
your eyes, what it does with, like, if you swallow it and you start choking and you're like, oh my God.
Yes, that exact fact. Because, well, one, it's salty because of all the fish that live in the ocean, and I don't know if that's a truth or a farce, but I feel like it has to have some substantiality to it.
No idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, obviously we couldn't tell you the specifics on, why the water is salty, and that's because of fish, fish urine or something like that.
But it is.
But it is at least 50% of it, at least. But there's also great effects that salt water has, like, on your body, especially with, like, your hair, your oils, and all that. But we're not talking about that. Everyone knows that stuff, and maybe you don't, but we're not talking about it. We're talking
the bad
about
stuff.
Yeah, we're talking about how your eyes basically bleed if you open them up. For whatever reason underwater, you're absolutely screwed. Like Zach said, if you just swallow a straight gulp of it, not intending to, like when you just get slammed in the back by a wave.
Actually, yeah. Quick question now that I'm thinking about it. When you open your eyes in salt water versus chlorine, what's more painful?
Well, I wear contacts, so I try not to open my eyes at all.
But when you have, whether it's by accident, someone dared you, you lost a contact and had to open your eyes to look for it, although that probably wouldn't work. But
I was going
when
to say,
you
they're
did,
clear. You're not finding it.
what's worse?
Like, I guess, I mean, like, I've always tried to take off my contacts, like, when I go to the beach, because I'm not going to find them, and I usually never bring an extra pair, because contacts are expensive. But when I took off my contacts and I opened my eyes just in both chlorine and, salt water, I would say salt water was more painful. I mean, chlorine burns, like, definitely, without a doubt, but, like, your eyes kind of get a little, like, used to it if you open them up a couple of times. You'll just come out like, your eyes will be like feeling it later. I think as you continue to do it in chlorine, it's like it gets a little easier as time goes on if you're just chilling in the pool. Salt water never gets easy. It always burns. It always sucks.
It never gets easy.
No, it's like constant pain because you're also getting like little granules of like salt or sand, mainly sand. Salt's obviously very very, very tiny to the point where it's like very hard to actually be able to feel
in the
that,
water,
but
it's a part of like the solution of salt water. So I get that.
Yeah.
The sand part
But
worries me more.
the sand-
and I agree
yeah,
with
the
you in
sand is
your
definitely-
answer.
sand definitely like gets it. Like you can definitely feel it. Like when you're rubbing your eyes too. Like sometimes you'll get like a piece or two.
Ooh, just thinking about it. Ooh.
Yeah, salt water is not fun to get your eyes burned by.
Or to swallow, because yes, the eyes are a huge pain, probably more over than swallowing. But just gulping down some salt water, it's not the worst thing for you. Of course, don't go ahead and just start chugging gallons while you're at the beach. But when you do accidentally swallow it, it's not pleasant. It's not fun. Not at all.
No, not at all. But Yeah, no, I mean, like, obviously everyone can consider those to be, like, truths. Like, obviously no one wants salt water or
Mm-mm.
any type of that water in their eyes or mouth area.
No.
I'm trying to think what else is, like, pet peeve at the beach.
I would say like worried about other people like doing stuff near you, like on a busy beach. Like if you get beach balls or kickballs or soccer balls like rolled at you, thrown at you, you get hit by one. But that doesn't happen like that. And then, ooh, you know what? Maybe a real pet peeve would just be if you go to the beach with a kite on a windy day, but then for some reason it's not windy at the beach.
That's not that big of a pet peeve of mine, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
I'm
think
never really flying kites like that. Although I feel like, of course, if you are a person who goes to the beach strictly to go there, swim, fly kites, then yes, it's bad. It's awful. But we never really went to go to fly kites. It was more just hanging out in the water and that sense of things.
yeah, listen, we boogie boarded, all right?
Yeah, boogieing.
We took those waves. We either were body surfing or boogie boarding, and we loved it. You know, obviously, if we didn't have a boogie board, we were body surfing, and
Yeah, for sure.
it's just fun and stupid to do. It's like, you know, who doesn't love just riding a wave all the way in, and then
It's
you're
true.
you're laying like flat on your face when you come in. You know what I mean? No, but I don't know. I guess what I hate is the changing tides, honestly. You know, you got low tide, you got high tide. You know, you come in on a low tide and you really want a boogie board. You're not catching any good waves at all. But if you come in at a high tide, you're catching like these monster waves that basically just toss you around like you're
These
in a
monster
blender.
waves.
Yeah, like you're in a blender. And or I guess I shouldn't say that's just high tide. That's just like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, you catch those like major waves out there, and these are like right at the shore, and you're just getting tossed around like you're in some blender or something, and then the waves immediately like pull you back.
Such a classic. It's nice too because when you got water like that, you're not worrying about rip currents or like the lifeguards telling you about sharks in the water, or when there's not 30 million jellyfish just hanging out in the water all soaking up one spot or whatever. I would
You know
say
what?
those
That's
things as a culmination could be bad because then you can't go swimming, can't really hang out in the water. You just have to bear the sun and just pray that you don't get burnt or sand in your eyes.
yeah. I would say the next like major pet peeve is the things floating in the water. It could be a jellyfish, could be like kelp, you know, whatever.
Oh, and the seaweed, yeah, with I can't think of like other random things that have been there. But there's those little things that look like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a sea grape. They're super tiny, like they're the size of I wouldn't even know how to describe it, like Orbeez, and they're attached like on little mini vines. They literally look like
Oh
a
yes.
vine of grapes, and then they just kind of all like branch together into what looks like seaweed, but it's not seaweed. And they're just, one thing wraps around your leg, you're like, oh, just like
Yeah.
you scare the piss out of yourself. But most of the time
Freak
they're
out so
floating
badly.
where you can see them. Yeah, and well, that's the thing too. Like all that stuff that's floating that is normally in the water. It's dark. Usually you could see it. If it's floating up off the ground, like the seaweed that's growing off the ground, and you have to walk through that. That's weird. I mean, it's not unheard of. It happens more often than not, but it's just weird to walk through. It's uncomfortable. I don't know. It's wonky to say the least.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. It's not a great feeling, especially when you're like, just sitting there, like what's touching my feet?
Yeah, that moment
And
of
then-
moment of pure displeasure and scaredness.
Yeah, absolute terror. Yeah, because like then you're like you're like your imagination goes absolutely wild, thinking like, what could it be?
I didn't know
you're
sharks
thinking
swam
like,
this close to shore.
yeah, you're thinking it's like a great white coming by your foot or something like that. Or, like an octopus or, some type of like man-o'-war jellyfish coming to kill you or something.
It would be really bad if it was you stepped on a stingray. That would be really bad.
Stingray, sea urchin,
Ooh,
Not
yeah.
great things. Yeah, I mean, sea urchins are much more likely to be closer to the shore for whatever reason, in comparison to like a stingray. Maybe sure, like yeah, possibility, but I don't think they would really come that close to the shore
What's that?
like stingrays.
I think there's too many. Like, if there's a lot of people around and boating activity,
Yeah.
they're probably staying away from all the nonsense and the noise and the hustle and bustle.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I
guess sea
don't.
urchins don't really have a choice. They probably if they get swept up by current, they just kind of got to go with it.
That's what I mean. Like sea urchins are much more likely to be stepped on, and obviously it's the obvious case because most people have, stories of stepping on sea urchins, in comparison to like encountering a stingray.
Yeah.
Um,
More so the urchins and the jellyfish and maybe some smaller sharks like the tiny sand sharks or maybe the tinier bull sharks maybe. But I don't know. Even when we would go to the beach, there weren't like a lot of. If there were sharks, they were out and about deep. Where we weren't able to either walk to or get to. Like you have to
Yeah.
take a boat. So
yeah, no, it was nothing that close to us. I mean, there was a couple of times where there was like larger sharks that were like seen or spotted in the area, and like
Yeah.
they told us to get out of the water, but. I mean, pretty much in the next like 20 minutes, they were gone, moved on, went further out or something, and
because
everything was
they're
fine.
scared too of people. Like especially a lot of people. And if a lot of people are swimming and stuff, they're probably not going to make an appearance like that. So for big animals like that, it's hard to like put them in a pet peeve category. Of course, the creepy crawlies and stepping around the seaweed and things that touch your legs it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. But they don't rank next to like sunburnings or sand in the crevasses or falling asleep and losing complete track of time. All that.
Yeah, no, they're just there. It's like obviously like you don't want to be like stepping on one or something, but in reality, they're really not that much of a problem. The most things that are the problem are the seaweed that just like scare the crap out of you because there's so much of it like floating by or something, or there isn't any and it just so happens to touch your leg.
Mm.
But I will say those times where it's just like there's like a full load of it just coming across, like that's annoying. I hate those. It's like, God, come on, I'm just trying to swim here.
Wade through the chest, the chest high grass in the water. Just oh no,
Exactly.
slowly
likes
batting
that. No one
off
wants to do
all the
that.
worst. What?
I said no one likes that. No one wants to do that. And if you
Just
like
another
it, you're
day
a
at the
freak.
beach. But see, that's the thing. Like, for everything that we complain about, we can also think of one thing that's better, that is much more exciting to experience. Because for every bad thing that happens, it's like, oh, there's two more good things about the beach. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like I love the beach. I love going to the beach. Sure, there's things that I don't like about the beach, and I don't think I could stay at the beach all day. Like if I had the choice, like I'd probably go for like a couple hours, like and then go back, have some lunch, and then maybe come back later and take a walk or something. Like I'll go to the beach every day, but I'm not going to spend the entire day there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with our fair skin, having to well, I mean, I've fallen asleep on the beach countless amounts of times. Too many to count on two hands these days. And it's one of those things where if you are trying to do other things, going to the beach, taking a nap, you could be there for 6 minutes. You could be there for 6 hours. And I think that's the worst case possibility, especially for someone like me who's kind of a busybody and I like to get things done and whatever. Of course, vacation's a different story, but still, falling asleep for 6 hours on vacation is just like, oh.
Dude, but it's vacation for a reason. Like I wouldn't care. Like I would take that if I fell asleep on the beach for 6 hours, I'd be like, "Whoa, that felt great. I'm gonna go do something else now."
Whoa, I just woke up. It's dinner time. Last I went to bed, I just had breakfast.
Oh my God, it's 8 o'clock.
Nobody else on the beach. It's pitch dark out.
Yeah, you're looking around. It's just like you're the only chair left. Everyone's just like walking in the water. They're just walking by. All your stuff's gone. It's just the chair you're sitting in.
The worst. But seriously, everyone, tell us what you think about our pet peeves and unpopular opinions because we want to hear from you guys. Of course, if you don't like the beach, you should tell us all about it and why you don't like going. For those who love the beach, make sure to remind us of your true love so that way we can fall in love with it again and have a reason to not make fun of the beach like we did today.
Oh yeah, no, we love the beach, but man, it bothers us sometimes. But on that note, I guess we'll wrap it up here. So thank you all so much for listening and tuning in today. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Spotify if you're listening on YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, or I should say, if you're listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube. Besides that, we'll catch you guys on the flippy flop. Peace.
Out for the, I'm walking the bull, out for the, out for the, out for the, out for the, out for the.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.